Welcome back to Dash for Adventure. We're going to go check out Sloss Furnaces. This is where this southern Alabama city got its start. We'll tell you more. Stick around. We're here at Sloss Furnaces, National Historic Landmark, where Birmingham, Alabama was born. The automatic car coupler, invented by Andrew Jackson Beard.
This is the number 2 casting shed. It once covered where the iron was poured from the furnace. It now houses the world-renowned metal arts program where artists teach classes and demonstrate the art of iron pouring.
Imagine working here back in the late 1800s. While Birmingham was founded in 1871, Sloss Furnaces opened in 1881. The train nearby kind of reminds you what it might have sounded like with all the noise of the furnaces. Here on the left are the boilers. There's actually 12 on the left that were built in 1910. And then on the right, there are 4 more that were built in 1920. And it was this steam that powered the entire steam power system that kept Sloss Furnaces operating. Unlike most towns in the South, Birmingham didn't actually become a town until after the Civil War. And it was a perfect combination of 2 rail lines that crossed paths and all the raw materials that were needed to create steel. The iron ore and other raw materials were found all nearby. And because of that, just 10 years after the founding of Birmingham, Sloss Furnaces was created, and it put Birmingham on the map. I guess if you were lucky, you'd be stationed in one of these little houses right here. Or maybe unlucky. It might have been hotter than Hades in there. But that was a storage building for something. Maybe it was a security guard. Let's take a look at the Sloss boilers. This is the side of the industrial world that we rarely get a glimpse of. Because normally when buildings or factories or furnaces like this are in operation, the public's not allowed to visit unless you work here. And then, after factories close, they usually tear them down. But they saved this place. And actually, a big campaign in Birmingham was created in 1971 when it closed, almost 100 years after it opened, to save Sloss. And they did just that. In 1977, they had raised enough money to save the furnaces. And they came in and patched it and brought it back up to a quality level to turn it into a museum. So tell us about the stock tunnel.
Well, doesn't seem like we can go into the stock tunnels today. Apparently it flooded, so they're not allowing us to go down there. But the tunnel system moved raw materials into blasting furnaces. Trains arrived from the mines and quarries, and they would unload the materials into large storage bins. And then the workers inside the 250-yard tunnel would open chutes to release the materials onto a scale car, which then would take it to the furnace ramp, and the ramp would take the materials and dump them in the furnace for smelting. This is another shot of the tunnels. I'm still bummed that we're not getting to go into it today.
So after the raw materials were sent up that ramp and into the furnace, that big tall furnace there, once it was molten, it would come down and drop down through here into a special car. And you might recognize this name as something you would use in a kitchen, but it's the ladle car. And they would drop molten iron, molten steel, into that massive ladle right there that's built with fire-resistant materials, and it would transport down the rail and carry the molten metal so that they could form the pig iron. I would like to add, we are not historians. We're just tourists on an adventure. So while we're doing our best to tell you what we're finding out about this place, we could make mistakes, so you'll definitely want to come visit yourself. Even better, if you know more about this than us, let us know in the comments. Because I'd love to be corrected, especially where I've misunderstood some of the history of anything we get to adventure around. I know from videos and commercials that they have concerts here. So this is the #1 cast shed. And look at the formation of this, a perfect angle for stadium seating or stadium standing in that case. And then here's the stage, with that as the backdrop. Imagine that giant furnace. This would be a great place for a metalcore concert. And I bet money they have them here. Look at this massive furnace. Slag is like the waste material from making the pig iron. And the slag, they would pull it out of these notches here when they would clean the furnace from time to time. And they would sell the slag to be used in the making of roads. Probably some of our earliest asphalt, or what we would now call asphalt. You can see here where they would store the raw materials outside in these giant bins and use cranes to move it around. This place is well lit up at night. The stock trestle. So the train cars will be brought right here up on this elevated platform, and they drop their materials below into the tunnel that Paul was talking about earlier. And here's some old material left over in this rail car. And as Paula was talking about earlier from the tunnels, they would carry the raw materials up in those elevators right there. You see the cars? And the elevators would take it to the top and drop the materials in their pre-measured amounts into that furnace. Look at this old power switch. That's cool. I'm not gonna lie, this is interesting, walking around and going up and down steps and inside of all this old industrial stuff. Wow.
These 6 tall cylinder structures, 5 in a row and 1 around the corner, are hot blast stoves. They preheated the air before it was sent into the furnace. Each stove has a steel shell lined with heat-resistant bricks and then filled with lattice of fire bricks called checkers.
All right, now we're going to check out these turbo blowers. Ooh, it's cold in here. These are Ingersoll Rand, built and installed in 1949 and 1951. There are 2 of them. I think this is the first of 2. And these replace the old steam-powered blowers. And what these would do is they would create centrifugal force and force air into the furnace. And the air, forced air, is what would cause the furnace to get so hot. Here's the other Ingersoll Rand turbo blower. And this is more of the modern industrial age, where they would have crane equipment that they could use to service it, to pull parts of the engine apart and work on it. Here, we actually have part of this turbo blower apart, and you can see the insides of this engine. That's cool. Actually, it would be hot, very hot in here when these are running. Let's go see the old blowers. These are the original steam-powered blowers. These are massive, 2 to 3 stories tall, steam-powered, and they would create the high pressure wind that was needed, high pressure air that was needed to keep the furnace stoked and burning at a hot temperature, hot enough to melt the raw materials into pig iron. This is massive. Imagine working this for a living to put bread on the table. Thank God we've come further than this. Here's another furnace. And as we're walking out of Sloss Furnaces, the building on the right where they do all the metal art, modern metal art training and classes, is where they would pour the pig iron into their little ingots. And the ingots looked like pigs when they were stacked side by side. It was said they looked like pigs at the feeding trough, and that's why they call it pig iron. Now that's some cool art. Well, I don't know if these are body casts or some type of medieval thing. It looks like it's a body cast.
Like a cast.
They would make cast iron mannequins? Wow, I'm sure there's a reason for that other than mannequins, but...
She did it, it's a lady, her art. She did it in 2025.
That's amazing. It was artwork created in 2025, casting mannequins by Gwen Kelly. That piece is called the Ladle Man Blues. That's a restricted area unless you're part of the metal art classes. One of my favorite things in the whole world, pipe. That's right, pipe. It's a long story behind it, but the attachment here is plastic pipe is what killed the furnaces. It was in 1971, new EPA regulations had come out, stricter guidelines on the pollutions you could put into the atmosphere, and plastic pipe started becoming way cheaper than iron pipes. And it put an end to that part of the steel industry. Guys, thank you so much for joining us on today's adventure here at Sloss Furnaces in Birmingham, Alabama. We'll catch you guys on the next one. We'll see you in the comments. Have a good day.
Keep coming back, everybody. See what we're up to next.
We might be up to something strange next. Bye.